As a loan officer, we are really jack of all trades. We have to do everything, right? From making the phone ring all the way to the loan closes and then congratulating the client.
Hi, and welcome to the Loan Officer Team Training Podcast. I know that every week I say I'm excited to have a guest on, but this week I am super excited to have Jing Ren here with us. I am so grateful, Jing, that you took time to be with us because you're a very busy person. You have a lot going on, and I'm grateful that you're here.
Thank you, thank you, thank you for having me. And it is my first podcast, and so I love my first time to you, Irene, because you're so special to me.
Oh,
So thank
thank
you for
you.
having me.
Well, I'm super excited to have you on. And the reason I'm excited is not just because I love talking with you and I know you have a lot to offer, but it's because people need to hear what you have to offer. People need to know, hey, if Jean can do it, I can do it. And look at how successful she is. And these are the things that got her there. And so today I would love to talk about how you built your team, like where you started and where you are now and what your goals are, because I know you have lots of goals.
That's what makes life fun, right?
Yeah. So I have the honor of coaching Jing and Hamilton was on our podcast this last time. He talked about being a business development rep. And now I would love, Jing, for you to talk about how you built the team. So tell us where you were when you started coaching with me and with the Freedom Club.
Yeah, sure. I started my business 2019. That's when I got my license. I was just solo like everybody else that we started by ourselves. And so when COVID hit was 2020 and everybody's business exploded. That was my second year. So I started feeling that I would just by myself, even though it doesn't matter how efficient I just wasn't able to support everything by myself. So I hired one of my good friends, May, as my assistant.
Mhm.
She wasn't in the loan business, but she was able to help me with some clerk stuff, like administrative stuff. I know that, I was reaching my capacity. So that was 2020, 2021. That was really the first time that I reached out for help because I knew that somebody else had the answer for me. So that's why I went to Freedom. I joined the Freedom Club and I met with Carl and I met with you. You guys are amazing and you help out with our business. But yes, we like everybody else. I started with one person and then I was fortunate enough to hire somebody that I trust to be my assistant. And that was really just me as the only person who has the loan knowledge and pushing everything forward to today that we have a team of six.
Isn't that amazing? I love
Yeah.
that. And I don't know if everybody heard as clearly as I did, but you've only been in the business since 2019. It's not like you've been in here for 25 years or you're not old enough, right? To be here for 25 years. But
I wish.
but you have only been in the business since 2019 and the things that you've accomplished have been amazing in that time. Maybe
Thank
you don't
you.
even know how amazing. I tell you all the time, but maybe you don't even know how amazing what you've accomplished is, but the fact that you started in 2019 and you are where you are, it's been amazing. So you hired May. She was your first person. She wasn't trained in the mortgage business, right?
Not at all. Not
Okay.
at all.
And then how long did she work for you before you got her some training or?
I believe it was 1 year because the COVID time was 2020 and 2021 March was the time that I went to Carl. I hope I got my timeline right. At that time, we're just completely overwhelmed with all the purchase business and the refi business at that time. Yeah, that was she wasn't trained at all, and so I went to Freedom Club. I met you, and I started training. I sent May wasn't the first person I sent.
No, she
It was
wasn't.
I remember her name was Winnie. That
Uh-huh.
was too long
Winnie.
ago. Yeah, she was the first loan partner that I hired out of desperation, and I sent her to you. That was the first time. Yeah,
For
yeah.
the WOW
That was the
training?
first time. Yeah, in the WOW training.
Hmm.
And she was just not the right person. So ever since then, you taught me who to look for, especially in the personality test. Like my team is obsessed with personality test. They
With the
want to do
DISC,
it.
right? The
Yeah,
DISC personality test.
yeah, yes, exactly. You taught me how to look for the right person,
Mhm.
but at the first person beside me, right? The first loan technician that I hired wasn't the right person. And, throughout the entire process, you show me who should be the right person, how you should look for it, and why this is the right person. So basically, Freedom Club, and you show me like the entire system of how to hire. And that's how, yeah, I started three
You've
three
done
years
really
ago.
good. You've hired some really good people. But
Thank you. With help, yes.
let's talk about how uncomfortable that was for you at the beginning, because this is something all loan officers who've never had a team before, they go through this uncomfortable feeling and they want to throw their hands up and say, I don't want to do this. This isn't my skill set. I've got plenty to do, that type of thing. So tell me how you worked through that and how you felt and how you worked through it.
Sure. It was definitely difficult because as a loan officer, outside looking in, it's like, okay, we get business and then process loans and we're done. But, as a loan officer, we are really jack of all trades. We have to do everything, right? From making the phone ring, not even the phone rings, but making the phone ring, that was a big task. And all the way to the loan closes and then congratulating the clients and then following up with past clients. So that's definitely a lot that we need to do. And we always feel that we want to do the immediate things that's in front of us, right? So that is a it was a big challenge for everybody. So I am very interested into, I'm very passionate in investments.
Mhm.
So investing our time to teach other people, it's become one of my biggest passion.
Mhm.
And that is what really pushes us forward and then making the team grow. Because, if we just focus on our own thing, like this, there's just so much we can do. I was talking to you about this yesterday, that every client phone call would take 30 minutes. Doesn't matter how quick you are,
Mhm.
right? And how many 30 minutes do we really have in a day? And that is just talking about talking to clients and not including updating the agents, not including, working on our files. So our time is very, very limited. So I always wanted to have someone who's able to be like a mini me. That's how my business will grow. You'll never get there. There will never be the mini you, but that's the goal. That's where we want to get to.
Mhm.
And the biggest tip I will have for everybody is we have to tolerate mistakes and allowing the mistake to make. That's the only way the team can grow.
Yes. And being uncomfortable and just pushing through it, right? Pushing through.
Knowing it's a mistake and let them make it.
Yes.
My bottom line is you cannot get the compensation wrong. Like that's it. You cannot get the comp wrong. When you get the comp wrong, then I go crazy, right?
Yeah.
But it's a serious conversation. Let's put it that way. That they cannot get a comp wrong. But other than that, everything else, if I already know it's a mistake or it's because we know our team, right? We know the personalities, we know their knowledge level. Like after a little while, like we start knowing their knowledge level. So you know where they're going to make the mistake 90% of the time. Right. So kind of saying like, okay, I'm gonna give them the tip and they are going to make the mistake. And let me have them make it because I already told them. Like, it's not like you didn't tell them, right?
Right.
So you will let them know first, but you will know if you don't keep chasing after it, they're gonna make the mistake. But just be okay with it because the only way they learn is by making mistakes and losing files. And we have to be okay losing files.
Yeah. And that's so uncomfortable for people, for loan officers, because every loan matters, right? You don't want to disappoint people, but sometimes they do make a mistake and it's a costly mistake, but they learn from it. And most of the time they don't make that mistake again.
Yes, hopefully, yes. So in my head, I would just as we're talking, in my head, my priority is always my team over clients and loans. That's just my priority. And when anything goes wrong, I'll protect my team first, right? So if we have a difficult client and they try their best, but they went somewhere else because of some things that happen, I'm okay with it, right? Because I know this is really the money I use to buy my team's experience. And without mistakes, they're not going to know. And they need to be able to care about the team as well. If they don't care about losing files, then they can't learn. So definitely culture is where it puts us together, pushing through one direction and then making mistakes and helping them grow. It's one big thing for us.
And that's so refreshing because a lot of people don't feel that way. And they don't last on your team if they're not great. I mean, you know whether they're becoming great, even if they're not great yet as far as their skill sets, but you're training them and they won't stay on your team. You're not going to be blindly loyal. If they
Right.
don't work out, then you'll get rid of them. You'll have to let them go and find something else that they can do. But
Yeah.
what I love about your team, Jing, is that you have such a great culture on your team. All of the people care about each other on the team. And it starts with you that you put them first, that they know that you've got their back.
Yep.
And the
Yep.
reason you have their back is because they have your back.
Yep. Yep.
Yes.
That's it. We like a friend. We like a big family, like
Family.
sticking together.
Yes. And just as a side note, they each speak Chinese, right? Because you have a Chinese market that you serve.
Yes.
And so tell us about how that works. Do you have to know Chinese to be on your team?
Yes, ideally. Or Spanish. That's
Or
my new
Spanish?
manifestation. I'm manifesting that.
That's right. You're
Somebody
manifesting.
speak
A,
Chinese and Spanish or
there you
Spanish.
go. Yep. And it'll
Yes.
come. It'll come.
Yes, you will come. Yes, you will come. That's we're manifesting it. Ideally, because we are very big on customer service,
Mhm.
so we want to make sure that clients are being serviced, right? Not just doesn't matter if it's Chinese clients or English speaking clients. So I want them to feel if the client calls in, there's somebody who speak fluent language in their language to service. And so this way they can explain things in the right way because in our business there's a lot of explanation need to be done.
Mhm.
So very fortunate that people I look for doesn't just speak English, or I don't ever settle for anybody who just speak Chinese or broken English. It's a standard for me that I want
Yes.
them to feel they are in the American culture.
Mhm.
So the team that I have, they all speak fluent English and Chinese, and they are both able to read and type. We have two staff that are born here. So their primary language is English, not Chinese. So
Uh-huh.
they just learn Chinese as second language through family or reading, watching drama or anything. But they are both able to read and type.
Good.
So they are able to communicate with clients in their language. So that
Mhm.
is very important to us.
Super important. So tell
Yes,
us who you have on your team. Start with one and then just tell us who they not you don't have to tell us their name, but what they
sure.
do, what their position is, and what do they do?
Sure, no problem. Before I get into that, I want to mention one more thing
Mhm.
was the journey of hiring, if you
Okay.
don't mind. Yeah,
No, this is
before I
great.
forget. So the journey of hiring, one thing I want to share is that you will never have the right hire for the first time, unless you're very lucky, right? You have great karma, you're lucky, then yes. But it's a journey, it's a process.
It is.
So I had two bad hires before we really found the right loan partner. So I think I had three bad hires in the past. Before you, there was one more. What? my assistant maid told me was that Jing, like she complimented me for, hiring and firing and hiring and firing. And she said like every time you do it, you did it better.
You improved each time.
Yeah, that's what she told me. You did it better than last time. So that means in the person we are looking for, doesn't matter if I know the person is it's worth my time or not in teaching. Because even though I know it's a bad hire or might not be the right candidate, I still spend my full effort and my time to teach.
Mhm.
Because that's not just because in other people's eyes, it's like you are teaching somebody who's not going to succeed in your team or in your business, but it's actually not true. Teaching is actually perfecting your own process.
Yeah.
So you teach the first time, it didn't work for the candidate, but it's going to work for the second time. So you just learn more and more on how to teach your team through bad hires, unfortunately,
Yes.
right? That's the investment we have to put in. So that's just one thing I want to share, that it doesn't matter who you hire, just hire, because it's about your own process. It's not about them, right? If they stay, good for you. But if they don't stay, then good for you, because you know who to look for the next time, and you
Yes.
make sure they do the disc test.
Yes, for sure. They do the disc test. They do,
Yes, yes.
and part of the hiring is making sure we have what we call a hiring a loan partner checklist that I shared with you. And it's a step-by-step process to hiring a great loan partner. And one of them is taking the disc test, which I'm certified in the disc training. So when I'm coaching you, we can go through those disc profiles together, the ones that you are thinking about. And sometimes I've said, that one doesn't look like it's a good match for what you're looking for. And then sometimes you found the right one. So that's part of the hiring process. But I love that you brought that up because that's an important part. You're looking at it from a very positive angle of good for you. It's going to work whether they work out or not because you're learning how to hire throughout the process.
Yep, we definitely need to learn. And we also learned where to look for those people.
Mhm.
And the timing wise, I think as the refi start coming up, hiring right now is already too late. That's in my opinion, right? So it's about, planting the seeds when the market is good. So when the market turns, you get the hire, right?
Yes.
So that's how we hired. I hired everybody when the market was slow because the good candidates are left into the market. So we had a lot more opportunity to hire when the market's slow.
Mhm.
So now when the market picks up, I'm not panicking, right? It just they work a little bit more and we can always, make adjustment to make it better. So that's one thing I wanted to share about hiring. Now, in terms of our team, that right now I have me as a team lead. Yeah, I still do things that I should not be doing.
You're
I'm a
working
bad
on it.
student. Yes, I'm working on it. It's a journey.
It is a
I
journey.
promise. It's a journey. So we get better every day. And we still talk to clients and the qualifying. And I have my husband. I'm very, very fortunate to have my husband who has no call reluctant and able to look for new business, talking to cold calling the agents, getting new business, and also helping with hiring because at the time that when he just joined us, he literally just reached out to because I'm looking for a unicorn, somebody who's perfect in both the languages and I wanted somebody near my house. That's I live in a suburb area, so I'm crazy. So
Of New
I was
York,
looking for
right? You're
yes
in New
in
York.
Long Island, New York. So it's not like huge Asian population here, but we are looking for that person. It's just hard to find. So what my husband did was he outreaches a lot. That's his job. He outreaches a lot. He has no fear to outreach at all. So he went on LinkedIn and he looked for everybody, sent everybody messages. So that was one tip that I shared within the Freedom Club members that
Love that.
just outreach to LinkedIn because if you post a job posting that you might not get what you want.
Mhm.
So LinkedIn is very precise, targeting. That's what we did. And then when we had the first hire, then, and then they start bringing in their friends who are in the same industry and all that. So it gets easier and easier. But that's what my husband Hamilton does. He outreaches. He's a business development rep. He creates new business for us. That's why during the downtime, we actually did more business than the COVID time because I didn't have a previous book of business to start with for the refi. And, as the team grows, that our capacity grows. So our business did better. So that's the second person. And I have my personal assistant, so grateful that she makes my life easier. She makes like my life sane, right? Like I stay in sanity because of her. So she does, she does my personal things, and then also she helps with the rest of the teams with the documentations and all things like that. But I never require her to learn mortgages. So she never had to learn. Right. She just stay in her lane and she does what she does the best and keeping everything organized for everybody. That's her.
Does she answer the phone?
Yes, so she answers.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
And she
That
knows
frees everybody up.
Yes, and she knows all the agents, like who our referral partners are. She knows who's a new agent that we just spoke with, talked to, and she knows what question to ask when the phone call comes in because if she gets frustrated, she's like, Jing, everybody just wants to talk to you. Like, and we start figuring that out. I was like, no, like they don't want to talk to me. They just want answers. They just thought that I have all the answers. So I start telling agents, buyers, sellers, like everybody. I just tell everybody like I'm not the right person. And I start getting more and more comfortable with it, saying,
Yes.
I'm not gonna be able to give you, I'm afraid I'm not gonna give you the accurate answer. So they know, who to reach out to. And I tell them that I will pass the message to my team and my team will reach out to you because I don't have the right answer. And most of the time I don't have the right answer anyway.
Right.
Yes, I gave up that part. I completely just gave up. So I saw the email, I just archive it because I know they are able to take care of it.
Because you trust your team. That's why. Yes.
I do. And when agents ask me for updates and I tell them if I don't hear it during the pipeline review, there's nothing wrong with it. Because I will only know something wrong when I hear it.
That's right.
Yeah, so I told them most likely, it's just in the right process. So yeah, we also use technology and all that kind of stuff to help everybody communicate. But that's May, that she knows that who's calling and urgency of the phone calls, and that's one thing that we focus on in very recently, that when phone calls come in, that ask that if they just want a pre-approval to look for houses or they want to put in offer today. Or it's a loan that's already in process, so she knows where to direct the phone calls.
That's great.
That's my mini me. She knows everything about me and my habits and my password to everything. and then I have 2 loan partners that talk to clients or structure loans, submitting the loans and getting the loan approval. So once the commitment letter is in, then the file gets to my processor. So she takes care of the client all the way to a commitment letter. That's what they do, and then they updating everybody, and they will reach out to me when there's issues with the file. And then I have my one processor that, because we only have one processor and 2 loan partner, that's why I left a little bit more loan setup and loan submission and a little bit more upfront work to the loan partner. So the process is designed in a way, my process takes care from loan approved all the way to closing because we're brokers. So all the way to closing. Then once the file is clear to close, everybody just show up and then congratulating clients. So they feel very special. But my process is designed in a way that if it gets busy, then there's a possibility that I can give out the loan submission to the loan processor. So I'm a firm believer of a cross training.
Me too.
So
yes,
that's very, very important, that my loan partner knows how to process, and then my processor knows a little bit of how the file is structured, or at least knowing the programs. So this way that if one person it's away, then other person can step up. So one more thing in our team, we don't have set vacation time and sick time. I don't know if it works for everybody.
You don't have it set, but they take it anyway, right? They take
They
it.
take it anyway.
You're very
So
flexible with them.
they're very, very flexible, and I don't require them to work over the weekends. So I believe not to overwork, especially in this business, because it's already stressful. There's
Yes.
no reason to have additional stress.
Mhm.
It might mean that, we get a little bit less business, but I'm okay with it because the more business just means that I need to hire more people. So I rather slowly get there where everybody still have their personal life.
Yeah. Well, that's great. As a mortgage advisor, you know that having a high-performing loan team is critical to building a successful business. But training them can be time-consuming, and it can detract from more important tasks like generating leads and growing your business. But that's where we come in. We created Loan Assistant Mortgage Training Bootcamp, a self-paced online course available immediately to train your team, including newer loan officers, on how to actually do mortgage loans. Our course takes them step by step through the process, from taking a complete loan application to creating effective communication with clients, referral partners, and team members. When they complete the class, they will have the training to be an asset to you and your mortgage business. Visit loanteamtraining.com and navigate to the Loan Assistant Mortgage Training Bootcamp tab to review our course details and enroll. With our training, you can confidently delegate and devote your time to growing your business even more. With your loan partners, do they both know how to qualify people, like do the loan consultations?
Yeah. So the two loan partners that they specialize in different loan programs. So their specialty is different. So based on the client, then we will know where to send to.
Okay. Okay, good. I love that they're cross-trained and that you have a central communication place where everybody can see what conversation log there is or what's been happening on the loan. So if one person's out, the other person can pick up. That's a big thing. We teach that a lot in our WOW training because it doesn't do any good, especially with remote loan partners. It doesn't do any good to have somebody that's remote. And if they have an emergency, nobody knows what's happening with the loan if it's up here in their head and not written out. So I'm a firm believer of that. That was the other thing I forgot to ask you. Tell us which of your positions are remote and which come into the office.
Yeah, sure. So that's another thing about hiring that I forgot to share and I wanted to, was that when we are very limited to I wanted just to see the person, feel the person, in front of me, right? Feel is the wrong word, but feel their feelings in front of me so I can build the culture easier. So that was always something that I wanted to keep until that one time that I had a previous processor that quit. She just not loving the business. That's what I learned, that the person has to love the business to take the challenges, because it's a very challenging business. Quit, I had to fill in positions. I need to fill in two positions because my business was already growing at that time. And I tell myself, like, I was only given by the coaching program. Carl White, thank you to Carl, that he's like, how fast do you need to hire? I said 30 days. Like, no, you need it in 2 weeks. I'm like, what? So he made me write it down and promise and swear that I have to hire in 2 weeks. And when you're being pushed to that corner, you start getting creative.
Yes.
That's how people works. And that is especially how my brain works. I can be in comfortable zone too long. So 2 weeks, and I told May and Hamilton, I said, hey, I just given this task. I have to hire in 2 weeks. They're like, what? I'm like, yes, I was told to hire in 2 weeks. And we realized, like, they're just so many people around my area. That's why we're like, you know what, we will try remote.
Mm-hmm.
And because I have to hire in 2 weeks. So we tried remote, and one is still in New York, but it's a little bit farther than us. Definitely not able to drive to us. And the other person is from Florida. Amanda is from Florida. She's a loan partner. And yeah, that worked out for us. It was at the beginning, it was a lot of communication. So first month when everybody's when we had a new team, that it was constant calls every
Yes.
single day, constant. And now I don't even show up to pipeline meetings. They're
Good
like,
for
when was
you.
the last time you did a pipeline meeting? I'm like, yeah,
Good.
yes,
Good.
yeah. So
You,
remote actually give us a lot more possibilities, and
yes.
I was very grateful for that.
The thing about you, Jing, is you know loans backwards and forwards. You're the one that helped train people. It's not that you don't know how to do it. You've made a conscious decision to back off from doing that, to hire people that are amazing, make sure they get trained with whatever training needs to be done, and
Mhm,
then step back and let them do their job, let them own their role, let them
mhm.
free you up so that you can go get more business and grow the business. And that's what you guys have done. And so it's not because you don't know how to do the business. Because a lot of people say, well, loan officers will say to me sometimes, well, I don't want to give up that part of it. I don't trust my team. That means you have the wrong team, if that's the case. And sometimes it's just that the loan business was your baby for 20 years for some people. And so it's hard for them to give up. It was extremely hard for me to give up when I did that. And it actually took my loan partner, my oldest son was my loan partner at the time, many years ago. And he's the one that broke me of the habit of doing that because he would say to me, you've got to let me take the loan. Stop getting in the middle of it. And
Yes,
it
yes,
took someone
definitely.
strong like him to, get me to stop doing it. And it was a process. But it's not because I didn't know what I was doing. And it's not because you don't know what you're doing. It's because you've made a conscious choice in order to grow the business, you can't keep staying involved in all the loans.
Yep, I'll
And
tell them
so,
I'm useless. I love being useless. And there are clients that I never talked to.
yes.
From beginning to the end, I never talked to. And at the end I show up, yes. But there's a lot of loans like they just took in themselves and the process. Of course, being in New York, a lot of loans are just a lot tougher. It requires a lot of structuring, passing along to them, just having the conversation and then passing along to them, like just making sure that transition is very thorough
Hmm.
so they understand exactly what's going on with the file. But one big thing that I find in a lot of loan officers are that they, it's not that they don't know how to define the roles of the hirers, but they're hard to say it, right? Say like, all right, now you're responsible in picking up all my phone calls and directing all the phone calls, or you're responsible for structuring all my loans, right? And then getting application, taking the 1003, talking to clients all the way from beginning to the end. It's like, they feel, oh, I'm hiring this person, but I'm giving this person a lot to do, right? So they had a hard time saying it. Right.
Hmm.
That's what I found with a lot of loan officers. They feel like, oh, if I say it, it feels like, like I'm just pushing business to them. I let them do all the work and then I enjoying all the fruits. So they had a hard time saying it. Now, what I found was super extremely helpful was I didn't have to say it. You said it for me. I'm serious. Like, I have a hard time saying to Alice, right? So I didn't have to say it. I sent Alice to your training, and you tell them what their roles are. So it's not like me being very critical or being extra, like I need you to do 1, 2, 3, 4 everything, like, and me not doing anything, just getting
Hmm.
business and then you do everything else. That I didn't have to say that because if I say it, it feels like, oh, it's just you that's doing the business this way, and I'm feeling overworked. right? If I go somewhere else, they don't require me to do that. But, if I send them to you and then you train them the right way, they understand it's the right way of doing business.
Yes.
And this is their role and they need to own it, right? And at the beginning, they know their roles, but at the beginning, I'm not saying that, hey, you have to take the initial phone call, you have to, get all the documents and, do your DTI and qualify them. No, we slowly adding things onto their plate
Mhm.
so they understand how the entire process goes.
Yes.
But from the beginning, they knew that's something that they need to do. And we're just training them up little by little to their full potential.
Yes. Thank
Yeah.
you for saying that. I appreciate it.
Yeah.
I loved having them in class. And what we teach in the WOW training isn't so much like we leave the loan officer is the one that chooses what they want them to do, like all of their things. But we show them some examples of what a loan partner does. And then we let them know that it's your job as the loan partner to make sure that you're supporting the loan officer, that it's your job to own the role. It's your job to be the firefighter, not to keep running to the loan officer every time you need something. So we teach them in their language how to support their loan officer and be we I joke about this and I got this from Carl, this saying, but I love it. So when I'm talking to the loan partners or their teams on the WOW training, I say to them, you want to be so amazing that the loan officer's thought of you not working with them sends them into a cold sweat. Like they can't imagine doing business without you. And I got that saying from Carl. I loved it when he said it, but it's true. Every loan partner or every loan officer should feel like I can't do this without my loan partner. I rely on my loan partner. They do a great job. They're amazing with the clients. And you want to be so happy about that that you can't imagine doing business without them.
Yeah, yeah, it's definitely we're not able to do it ourselves, and I make sure they know that they are a big part of it, and they are taking charge. Like they're my boss. Like I always joke about it. I like them telling me what to do. Like if I'm like, all right, sounds like it's none of my business. I'm gonna go get loans now. So that's what I
Yes.
say.
You want them to push you out the door and say,
Yeah.
I'm taking care of this. I got this, Jing. Go get more business. It's a win-win for
Yeah.
everybody when that happens.
Yes, yes. When you know you're sending wrong emails, that you succeeded, right? I was sending emails like, I need a denial letter. They're like, you're sending to the wrong file, and everybody freaked out, right? Yes, something like that. When you're replying to the wrong emails, like you succeeded, like because that means that you already gave up on the processing part. And
Yes.
you're just getting your business. And one more thing I wanted to share was when they have their roles, it's never set in stone, right? Just like you said, there are different examples that like loan partners in different process, like in charge of a different process.
Yes.
So, we went through a lot of testing, and my team is used to, right now it's a little more stable, right? But at the beginning when we are structuring the team, we're structuring the process, that we constantly changing things, and the team has to be okay with it. And
Yes.
they just shake their heads like Jing's changing again. So what now, right? Like they joke about it, right? They need to be very flexible. In this business, everybody has to be flexible to succeed. So I will test this thing out, and then I will realize it doesn't work, and I will go back to my team. What do you guys think? How do you guys feel? Is there anything you want to change? And because I have two loan partners that does things differently, so there's one person wants it this way, there's one person wants it this way, then as a leader, then you have to decide what is good, like what is the best way for everybody, or can they do their own ways. So there's a lot of flexibility in it, and just don't think whatever you desire at the beginning and like you are committed to it. Like no, there's no commitment, right? As a team member is added, the process will always change. So
Yes.
I think Freedom Club teaches this, right? That whatever gets you here is going to be different than what would get you to the future.
Yes.
So the way of doing things has always to be evolving to increase your production or to support your production.
Yes, for sure. I like the word refine. So, for one, you're refining the process all the time. And then the other thing is, there is no such thing as this is the final way we're going to do this.
Yep.
Because like you said, it's always evolving and it's
Yep.
refining. Yeah, and when you sent your team to our training, what I loved about it that you had mentioned to me before is that you don't have to be the one telling them that. We're supporting you. And when they hear it from a trainer, it's different than when they're hearing it from their own loan officer because you already told them. In most cases, a lot of loan officers have already told them what their role is. But loan officers are so busy running here and there. They're, in and out, and they don't have time to train the same way. And the thing that we train in that WOW training that's different is that we have specialized specific training on communication, on processes, on systems. We never do a class without mindset. And that is the most popular thing of all of the things that we talk about in our training. We start the first day on mindset and how to have good self-talk. And then we go into team culture and how important it is to support your loan officer. And it just goes from there. We go into processes, systems, dialogues, scripting, how to communicate with clients. What loan officer do you know that goes through all of that training? The training you're teaching them is on loans, right?
Yep, yep. So
Yeah.
the doctor, what is called the Butler,
Yeah, Dr. Butler Script.
Dr. Butler Script, and at the point that my assistant was just frustrated, like everybody just calls and asking for you. You know what I did? I'm like, go to Freedom Club website, pulled out the Dr. Butler Script and read it and send it to them. Like I did nothing.
Right.
So no, I think I pulled it up from your training.
On our training
I just
manual, yes.
I just sent it to May. I said like just read it and that's your script. Like I don't know what else to tell you. Like it's all in there. Just read
Yes.
and repeat. That's it.
Yes, exactly. So the Dr. Butler Script, just to clarify for people, is a story that Carl White tells about his doctor and how his doctor's receptionist calls. It's a dentist, and they always call. She calls. I think her name was Courtney. I don't know if he's still in business or not because I think he retired, but Courtney would call and say, Dr. Butler asked me to give you a call today about whatever it was. He wants to make sure you're doing good, that type of thing. We affectionately call that the Dr. Butler script, but it's using the loan officer's name every time you talk to them. Carl gave me permission to use that in our training, and so we do. But it's utilizing Jing's name every time. Jing asked me to give you a call. Jing and I were talking about your loan. Jing and I were discussing the best structuring of your loan for you, the best loan possible for you. And so if they're always using the loan officer's name, it makes a big difference and they stop asking for the loan officer and they start utilizing the team.
A lot of the realtors we work with right now knows who to reach for what.
Yes.
So normally they don't need to reach me unless it's like, hey Jean, there's a new business or I have something, an event or anything that they want to talk to me about.
Yes. Yeah.
Yes, yes.
Well, I just appreciate you sharing everything that you've shared today. It's amazing what you have built. Where you were and where you are now is just amazing. And you sacrificed to do it. You put it in place. You sacrificed with your time and with your money to hire a little bit ahead of schedule. And yet you have a great team. You have a great culture. They're all happy working with you. They're a great group of people because I've had the honor of having them in class. And one of them came to the client conversion training class also to learn how to convert during loan consultations. So
Mhm.
yeah, so I just appreciate you so much, Jing, for taking your time and sharing with all the loan officers that we're sharing with today that can hear how you built what you've built.
I just want to say be patient. That it required, I joke with my team all the time. I said, I only have patience for you guys. That, giving them opportunity to make mistake, correct the mistakes, be patient that it takes some time to learn because everybody's knowledge level is different
Mhm.
and everybody has a different learning style. And if you know the team, if you know it's the right hire, if you know it's the right staff, don't be afraid to change your process a little bit for the person,
I
right?
see.
So they need to be happy in the business because it's a stressful business.
Mhm.
So make the environment as happy as possible so they're less stressed and stay
Yeah.
with you longer.
I love that. Your people know that you care about them. Your team knows that you care about them because you show them all the time.
Yes.
So thank you for being here
Thank
today,
you.
Jing, and for sharing. I just appreciate you so much. It's an honor to be your coach and Hamilton's coach. And I'm just grateful that we get to talk every 2 weeks and sometimes in between and discuss things that will help you in and grow
Thank,
your business.
thank you. I really appreciate you and Carl. I get emotional about this.
Oh,
But when I went to Carl, it was I knew I need to join Freedom Club because they have all the answers that they went through or I am going through. And it all came true, right? Like, whenever I have questions, you guys give me answers. I just have to do it. Like that's what makes it so special.
aw. Well, thank
Thank you.
you. We appreciate you being part of our family. And oh my gosh, it's amazing.
Thank you, thank you, thank you for changing our lives. It's
Thank you. Oh
amazing.
my gosh, that's so
Yeah.
sweet. Oh, I just,
No,
it's, you have so much potential, and all I do is be a sounding board and help you figure out exactly what you want to accomplish, and then just let you know that I believe in you because I do.
yeah, yeah, thank you. That's what you see in me, and I want to be the same type of mentor to my team as well,
Uh-huh.
because everybody's different, and you kind of help them elevate themselves in their own way,
Yes.
and seeing the light in them and helping them to grow.
Yes.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
you've invested in
Thank
your
you.
team too in many ways. So you're a great leader. So keep
Thank
leading.
you.
Okay.
Thank you.
And
Appreciate
thanks.
it. I appreciate
Appreciate
you,
you.
Amy.
Thank you so much for listening today, for being here, whether it's on YouTube or your favorite podcast station. I just appreciate you being here with us. And hopefully you got some good tips from Jing today. So if you enjoyed the podcast, we'd really appreciate you leaving a 5-star review. And we would appreciate you subscribing and sharing it with people that would benefit from it, loan officers and other people that would benefit from it. So thank you for being here. Enjoy your day.